against abyssal blink timing with a BKB, then your situation for the side of Neon becomes very tough. The pressure gets put onto JG, and we've seen some games where it's just ultra tough for Magnus and Ember, then no one has play. So the laning phase has to kick into gear here for Neon.
Certainly does, as we are going to get into game number 1. Aurora versus Neon Esports, another series where one of these teams has to go into the lower bracket and the other one does get to proceed straight through to the upper bracket semi-final. Hell, we might have a level 1 team fight on our hands as well, by the way it's looking. Aurora already very aggressive with their positioning past the river to boot, getting onto the high ground. They will take the Watcher though, so that should give enough information away to Neon to not feed the first kill over. But Aurora's still going to hold on to that high ground. See if Neon do try to make their way to that position, or whether they'll still try to go for the bottom side. Their lines have been drawn out by Aurora. Seems like they want to try and loop back around through the mid lane down towards the bottom side, where the other bounty runes are perhaps, and see if they can find a kill that way.
Genius.
I mean, the thing is, there is vision watching all of this, so it doesn't really mean anything, because Neon are very well aware that Aurora have made that movement. No level 1 team fight to break out, sadly, but we do get to see maybe a bit of an engagement over this bounty rune, as Ken is thinking about jumping in, but does think better of it. Though a nice hoof stop from Jabs, actually going to land off the back of Q with the flame break, and Ken is going to go down. A beautiful setup here from Q. Ollie getting tipped for some reason, but nevertheless, first blood already being set up here for the Phoenix.
Yeah, it's a strong start for the side of Aurora. I'm a little bit surprised Ken still opted to walk in there. Just getting a vibe, and even just seeing the Batrider, even though you don't see the centaur, you know something's up. You know he's going to go for the Flame Break as a support, and that repositioning tool into Hoof Stomp is really the key here, which is what we're going to be seeing over and over on that top lane matchup. And that is something that CDR and Castaway have to be cautious about. There is a lot of kill potential, although Castaway again leveraging his early right-click damage with the Arctic Burn, just zoning out Q. And level 1 Flame Break is a pretty long cooldown, so the uptime for that kill opening is not going to be as massive. But again, you have to remember, the range of this Luna is just pathetic. He is going to be within kill strike, within range of the Hoof Stomp almost every single time, as long as Jabs maintains his presence in creep wave.
Yeah, I mean, Q's already kind of proven that he can set up for the Hoof Stomp if he needs to anyway. So you definitely have to be a little bit concerned about that if you are CDR. We are going to have, of course, a quick pause coming out as Ken having some FPS issues. Well, how's that bottom lane going? Like, you've got 23 Savage and Ollie against Bombi, and of course JG. One should argue that the 23 Savage probably is not going to have the hardest time in the world here down at that bottom lane. Certainly a bit of kill potential available here from Neon Esports, but you know, you're basically looking for a skewer back into the tier 1. I'd say is the only chance you have of really killing off this Alchemist, unless Savage royally screws up.
Yeah, I think there's more pressure onto the Alk here. Really depends on how well Ollie can maintain his position and juggle around these Fire Spirits. That's where his early presence is going to be coming out from. Because JG has a lot of damage just playing this lane. Why are they still seeking good luck? We're already all.
Who misses who?
Ollie misses Castaway, I guess. There you go.
Okay. There you go. That's rather beautiful. Castaway seems like a good guy. You know, he seems like that kind of player I'd want to have a beer with.
Yeah.
I mean,
probably one of the more social players.
I've never talked to him before, Jonathan. I don't believe we've even done an interview with him. Have we interviewed Castaway before?
No.
No, we haven't.
No, I don't think so.
But he just looks like he gives off that energy, doesn't he? Just being a good guy to have
That
a
he
beer
does. That he is. Pretty sure he is. You have to be to kind of try to reel in a team like Neon with everyone from everywhere, you know, being that guiding voice, the captain voice, and a team like this takes a lot of charisma. So I'm sure Castaway is that kind of fellow. But in this lane, it's going to be a little bit more, well, again, a little bit more pressure onto 23 if Bombi can keep Ollie away from trying to land the hits onto JG. He's got shockwave damage to play with. Eventually, he can always harass out with Empower as well. And that might be the route JG will take, just looking for a little bit more farm in comparison to the Shockwave build, or even just the Skewer back build. And as long as he can kind of get that build up and try to just stall Savage as much as he can with these trades, you can feel pretty good. Like, you get a fast blink timing, you can start to pressure.
Top lane, Q's going for perhaps a bit of a dive. Won't have enough damage to quite finish Castaway off, but still plenty of damage being dealt. Actually forces the level 2 Cold Embrace level up here from Castaway, so not going to have the Splinter Blast available, though to be fair, probably doesn't want it anyway. Just wants to stay in the lane as best as he possibly can. Meanwhile, bottom, a bit of a jump onto Ollie, but not really enough setup here to get the stun off.
Just not quite in the position to fully maximize that. I do enjoy seeing Alchemist nowadays, like ever since the change to having just Grievel's Greed be passive. It gives you more options to play in the lane as Alch. Like, you have to be worried about the level 3 timing. With a 1-2 build, the damage from Unstable does scale up pretty fast, especially with a minus armor that Acid Spray provides. Still a little bit harder to play with that setup, considering, again, Ollie is just getting harassed out by Bombi. Already forces out the Fire Spirit, so again, there's no threat onto JG. And no threat onto JG, Magnus is just free to trade farm with the Alch, which isn't necessarily ideal, but does mean that JG's timings, again, aren't going to be too bad in this game.
JG is certainly having a pretty damn good time at the moment. I don't think Aurora mind that too much, though. Certainly, JG going to be happier about that than Aurora is sad. Pretty quiet across the map, no real rotations happening. Q is slowly making his way into the mid lane, but it does seem like he just wanted the bounty rune to be taken away from a mid-ember. Ken will not have that available to him. It's like Armel's been having a pretty decent time on the mid-Pango, but to be fair, so is Ken. Like, apart from giving that first blood away, he's not doing too badly against the Pango.
He's keeping up. He's managing to trade some blows. It's still a little bit of a better lane for Armel, but it is also very mana-intensive for Armel to apply that harassment. Ken is still in the game. If he can dodge like 1 or 2 spell uses of the Squash with Slight, he's pretty happy. Bottle refills do go both ways, so just going to be maintaining that status for Armel. Should hit a nice timing into the 6, and that's a concerning part for the Ember. With the early lead Armel has in terms of EXP and earlier 6 timing into the roll without the remnants.
Yeah, jump was there from Jab. CDR dropping extremely low, and it seems as though he will eventually burn to the damage of Q. Firefly proves to be enough. The Castaway might be able to trade lives here, but no. Q's still able to walk his way out. They do get away with the CDR kill. Meanwhile, bottom, they do at least get a trade here with Ollie. The Phoenix does go down, but if you're not killing off 23 Savage, chances are you're not too happy about the trade.
Yeah, it's not the ideal situation for Neon. It's a pretty nice pickup, especially for a player like Q. We know how much Q likes to go pretty greedy in his games, so having that ramp up for just initial items, initial move speed to help chase down on the Batrider always feels great. And he's already starting to get some stacks up. No one from the side of Neon blocking these camps, being able to sneak around and just drop the sentry to prevent that build up for Q to start clearing out, or for Armel or Savage to clear out down the line.
And
does set up nicely.
I was shooting out the flame break here from Q, but the chase is on. Blood grenade was popped. Ken, he's moving rather slowly, and Q, just with the Firefly chasing him down, unable to finish off the kill quite yet as Castaway does move in with the Cold Embrace to try and help Ken out. Ken, nice juke on the shield crash, but it won't matter anyway. He will go down. Castaway will lose his life, and so will Bombi. 3 down for the side of Neon Esports. Armel will be very, very happy with what he sees in this mid lane.
Find the big kills, and they find a courier. Nice little bonus, taking away some vision as well from the side of Neon. And Aurora off to a running start, 5-1 up against Neon so far. And Neon, the responses are just a little bit slow. And TPs came in a little bit later than you'd want them to. The counterplay just isn't quite there. That early level 6 timing we talked about for Armel, showing its strength. I mean, you can't do much as an Ember. He does hit 6 now. He's got the remnants for safety, but it's just one fight too late. If they manage to hold off that creep wave, hit that 6, Ken might have not died if he managed to equalize earlier.
Absolutely. It's a bit of a tough state of affairs here for Neon. It's not going to get any easier as the game goes on. Now 5-1 in favor of Aurora. Jap's just putting so much pressure at the top lane onto CDR to Boon. Like, even just on his own, he can just do so much work. Ensuring Castaway does have to stick around here and ensure that the Luna does remain somewhat farmed up. The Centaur offlane pick certainly working out very favorably here for the side of Aurora. Just at that stage where the Arctic burn of the Winter Wyvern's just doing not really anything to Jabs. He's just going to stand his ground every time.
Yeah, he's got the protection. Iron Will up for a little bit more regen. Lots of armor to cop for these trades. And not much of a response out from Neon. The one big thing as well, having to keep Castaway up here, is that you're not able to stack as much for this Luna to catch up. You have some stacks on the bot triangle, but that will probably just go to JG. So your recovery setup for Neon isn't quite there in comparison to, again, Aurora just having access to their triangle very easily with his Batrider, with how much Q is able to do dipping in and out, and the space that Jabs can provide, right? I mean, you don't need to babysit a Centaur, so you can just build up your economy elsewhere.
Yeah, 1 minute Savage. May get caught. Farming this jungle, Castaway's right by his side. So is JG moving in slowly. 23 Savage, he hits the level 6 mark. He'll try to survive, but the RP comes out. JG wasting no time. Ends up picking him off. Armel, though, moving in to try and trade. Does only find himself a Castaway courier. Not very good news if you are Aurora. They are at least chasing CDR up at the top lane, so Jab's making the call to rotate over and help him out. Even the Stampede pop just to ensure that they can kill this Luna. CDR will eventually go down to the damage of Armel as they'll find Castaway to boot. Castaway trying to run through the terrain up towards the high ground. Goes back low, but it may not matter. The chase is continuing. There are more rotations incoming from Neon. They will try to trade. A nice pushback landing on Ollie. The Q is still running. The chase is on, but a hoof stop will save for now. Bombi still chasing, does secure the bat. And in fact, they might even have a Centaur on their hands. Jabs trying his best to trade effectively for his team, but it cost them so much. This is all off the back of Savage dying down a bot lane.
Yeah, they lose Savage. It's a good read from Aurora to try to punish top in exchange, and finding CDR is still pretty big, but they sacrifice way too much. Really good flank coming out there from Ken, coming down from that bot area and intercepting right in the nick of time. Can't underestimate the damage output of just the Acorn shot at this moment. It's a ton bouncing around. It's a ton of bonus damage. These supports are squishier as well. You're not as durable as you'd expect, especially on the Phoenix. So you have to take note of that. 7-5, 1k lead still standing for Aurora, but it's not quite the amount you'd want considering you do have the Alchemist. We'll find Bombi.
Yeah, poor old Bombi. Have to cop the lasso here. The loving arms of Jabs. He really has no chance of survival there on the Hoodwink. Q has been absolutely fantastic as always on this Batrider, setting up a lot of kills for his team. Still 8-5 now. I mean, Neon Esports, all things being said and done, doing pretty good. You know, only 1k behind against an Alchemist. The lanes didn't look like they went too badly for them. I'd say overall, it's a pretty close matchup.
That it is. It's not as dominating as you'd expect it to be from Aurora. And again, if you consider that result in the Dream League closed qualifiers, sure, it was a 2-0 for Aurora, but those were longer games, I think averaging near 40 minutes. And the laning phase for Aurora also wasn't the most stellar result. It is certainly not that bad here, but it has been slower going. And Neon have found openings to play with. They're shoving in mid, they've got the siege creep up. They will try to defend here on Aurora.
Yeah, they'll chase Bombi. Armel, he does cop a bushwhack, does go into the Rolling Thunder 4. Bombi does juke out the initial stun, but will cop the second. Ollie is right behind Armel, ready to help out, and that's your Hoodwink just deleted as Ken. Almost running out of mana completely, thanks to the Diffusal Blade of Armel, but is still able to get his way out.
Force the response onto mid. Two heroes just camping that area, freeing up your side lanes a bit more. This is good farm for Savage, but it's also good farm for JG and for Chidori to kind of try to play catch-up. Like, this Luna is suffering. Her catch-up farm is going to be immense for the side of Neon and trying to hit this timing to fight back up against the storm that Aurora is trying to cook up. Savage is inching closer towards that Sacred Relic into the Radiance. And it's at that point where things start to get a little bit scarier. You know, you've got the Veil up on Jabs, going for the Shivas as well, for that damage amplification up front on such a tanky target. Gonna be hard to deal with him. As speaking of Jabs, we do have that pause.
We do. Jab's been having a fantastic game himself. Almost Shiver's Guard available on him now. We'll just go ahead and farm that up completely. Stampede, mid lane. Who have they got? It's going to be Ken. Ken trying to remnant it out of there. The chase is still on Q. Going right to the remnant and Armel. Right on target. You did say this man's been playing nothing but Pango recently, John, and it sure shows.
Yeah, I mean, he knows this hero in and out. It's literally what he's been playing for, what, a month in pro games now? I mean, Quinn has had words to say about it, but even he's just playing that.
Oh, Savage, your team's doing very well, Savage. You don't want to die like this. He might barely survive, but not quite. TPs were incoming, but it means nothing. They'd have to cancel. It's only Ollie that commits for the TP, and they've already lost the Arc anyway.
Yeah, they get the kill they want on Neon. They're not able to rally onto top to take out Chidori in comparison, and this should lead to a tier 1 push as well. Tower falls to JG. Ollie.
Chase is on. Ollie regretting the TP he made earlier, that's for sure. He could use the egg if he really wants to, but of course he will not. He didn't really have a choice at the end anyway. JG now picking up his 3rd kill of the game on the mag. Meanwhile, Aurora, they are still going to be able to find the top tier 1 tower while all this is happening, so not the worst news in the world, but it may start to get a little bit concerning that your Alchemist is still 3rd in net worth at 13 minutes in. Like, that's probably not the position you'd expect him to be. He's Ken. We okay to remnant out of that mid lane.
Yeah, he's playing on edge. Lasso was just coming off cooldown for Q.
This is like prime Hoodwink gameplay here, John. You just stalk the pos bot. You just annoy the living crap out of him.
Yeah, he's got the good ward set up as well to keep watch. Love this ward right by the Watcher down on the tier 2 bot. Really sneaky ward.
This curse out from Castaway actually might find Q before he dies, and he will. Castaway buying time. JG's around the corner with the blink up. Will go for it, but does not have RP. Tried for the skewer, does not get so lucky. They'll move on to Bombi now. Bombi in trouble. Savage will chase him down and eventually does find the pesky squirrel. Meanwhile, Ken, trying to find more trades, does go after Ollie, forces out the egg. Ken, can you actually deal with the egg? Of course not. He does have to remnant away.
Trade back and forth, a bigger trade for Aurora, but with Egg used up and with Rolling Thunder used up, a little bit of an opening for Neon as they have RP ready.
They've got Armel. Mid lane, RP committed immediately. Armel, he just swashed, and he will not have a chance to swash away. Great setup there from JG, and good presence of mind as well. He sees the swashbuckle, he does not hesitate to jump.
And that's where that trade instantly comes in, right? Like, you popped your egg, you popped the roll, you know you have this opening on Neon, and RP, the timing was just perfect. JG gets it right off cooldown, finds that opening, finds a nice mark for themselves, 12-9, 1k lead standing for Aurora, but it's as you mentioned, this is not a smooth game for Savage right now. Still number 3 in net worth, is above at least 2 other cores on Neon's end, but is still lagging behind Armel. Radiance is supposedly flying out now, so that should accelerate Savage's farm pacing and provide a little bit more forward presence. But Neon, they've just been on a constant aggressive, punishing these forays from Aurora. Q, maybe baiting out a bit.
Perhaps needs to be a little bit cautious. CDR baiting. Lasso out, but a nice curse. Another great curse from Castaway, gonna lock them down. Mel's gonna move in with his blink up and the Rolling Thunder. They'll still try after CDR. The Cold Embrace will buy him more time though. As the rest of Neon, they have grouped up, ready to go. CDR is still alive throughout all of this as Jabs. Jabs does go down, and now they've got Armel. Oh boy, and here comes Savage.
Savage.
One by one they will come, and one by one they may fall. CDR though, CDR, he does go down, but Savage, is it really worth your life? I don't think it is. A full team wipe out for Neon Esports.
Yeah.
What are they doing?
You know, Aurora reminds me of Old Talon. I wonder why.
Yeah.
I wonder why. This takes me back to last year.
Oh.
Huh.
You're the
Curious how that works.
You're the talent expert, Jonathan. I think you might be very accurate here.
It's a good showing from Neon, though. Like, they're finding this punishment. They're funneling Aurora in one by one. And it's just not the chain of events they'd go through. The Castaway, again, very on point with Winter's Curse, breaking off that initiation. Armel, really great blink reveal, but the follow-through was just too slow. And they take that fight without Egg, which still boils back to that fight down bot where they popped Egg and Rolling Thunder. Egg just came off cooldown. So even if Ollie shows up, he didn't have that tool to deny that team fight away.
Yeah, absolutely. Pretty tough kind of affair here for Aurora. Don't forget as well, John, I mean, Neon are at a disadvantage. They've got 2 Pinoys on their team, so obviously not feeling too good compared to Aurora, who've only got 1.
Oh, that is dank, Mike. Holy. Sheesh.
Carsten never forgets what was said, Jonathan. I will never forget. It's an honorary Filipino now, Jonathan. I visited the country. I tried everything, you know. I
Yes,
have my
course.
people's back.
Yes, Miguel Lopez Pineda, of course. MLP. That is what it stands for, people. Not anything related to ponies.
So,
Whatever that may be. 13 to 14, 4K lead. Aurora. This is the point where you start to look at this Alchemist and you start to feel a little bit weary. Net worth's not too bad, but the momentum Neon's picking up, how willing they are to take these fights.
it's alright. Although, Lasso is out. They've got Savage again. I mean, maybe they can at least get the Ember. Curse is out now as well, stopping the Stampede chase coming out from Jabs. Castaway cannot TP though. I mean, it was an attempt, I suppose. Now CDR's been caught out. Armel trying to find some more value, but CDR is able to TP away. 2-for-1 trade definitely in the favor of Aurora by a lot. But again, your carry is an Alchemist who is not pulling ahead.
That he isn't. It's going to be a long haul for Savage. And props to Neon, they're doing exactly what we were talking about in the draft. When you're up against an Alk, you have to apply consistent pressure. You cannot relent on this hero at any single point. He will just outfarm you eventually. So they're doing the right thing, keeping tabs on Savage. They find Savage again. I mean, it's only Bombi, but they just... It can't be safe.
He's doing the right thing. Like, Bombi, this is what I love about this guy. He'll just terrorize you the whole game. You know, just Savage has not been left alone by this hoodwink for the last 19 minutes. And even if you can't set up for kills, it's the fear factor. And it's just stealing creeps away slowly but surely from the Alchemist when they mean so much more. As they know that Savage is somewhere in the triangle right now, apparently stunning himself up here on the Ancients. In comes the cavalry. Neon wanting to set up, do move onto Q. Q, Rotovate tossed up, has nowhere to go but down, and eventually does die. Savage is trying to move in with this Radiance build-up. They want to go for the fight. There's no RP available on JG, so one is down. That is Castaway gone, and now Bombi to follow. A 2-for-1 trade in the favor of Aurora once again. Neon still kind of dancing around the triangle, but ultimately a very forced team fight here from Neon. They just didn't have the spells ready to go.
Very forced, but now when they get RP off cooldown, Eggs on cooldown, Stampede's down, Rolling Thunder's down as well. So it's another opening for JG. And every single time we've seen them have that opening, they've really just targeted Savage. So this might be a worthwhile trade if they can find something more off the back of it.
Again, trying to get very aggressive, JG. He's going to find himself Jabs on the Centaur, splitting them up nicely. Jabs going to try for a TP out. You do have the curse, and Castaway is forced to commit it. Meanwhile, Ken, he's found another turn.
Oh.
Armel and Ollie are both gone. 3 down. And Neon, they are not stopping. They want more. They want to rush that Radiant jungle. They'll miss out on Q. Q able to back his way out. But my goodness, you've lost another 3 here for Aurora. And Neon, I gotta say, John, I do feel like their draft has much better scaling.
That it does. There's a timer on this Alchemist. There's to an extent, a timer on your Pango as well. Like, there is a lot of damage that will flow out here from Neon on CDR, on JG, and even on Ken. Heck, even Bombi, man. I love his build. He's got the full Mage Slayer flying out, so the Acorn Shot is that much more devastating with the debuffs on. It's just so much to have to deal with. Like, how spammable this Mage Slayer is with Acorn Shot and with Sleight of Fist, it's going to be painful. And they pop Eclipse, but for Roshan, worthwhile.
Yeah, I mean, of course. CDR's probably just sitting there being like, listen, I'm not using this crap anyway. Just, you know, let me take Roshan with it. Who cares? We'll have it back up in 90 seconds anyway. Hopefully Neon don't try to force a fight without it, though. Mind you, they do have RP available, but I think the Winter's Curse is actually one of the more important spells in this game so far. We talked about it during the draft. Like, they chose this draft into a Winter Wyvern, right? They knew what they were doing here on Aurora. It was confidence, to say the least. Ollie.
Yeah. Oh.
Skewered back, JG having the perfect game so far. Ollie might just get sniped, and he does. Bombi just not letting anyone escape. Does secure the kill for himself. And I think if I was to choose an MVP so far of this game, for Neon at least, it has to be JG. I think this man of the mag has been an absolute terror for Aurora.
Yeah, he's done so much work. I would say JG and Castaway.
Yeah.
Like the setups on your previous point with Winter's Curse has just been excellent. His target prioritization has always been there. And this is him without the blink. He does have the Aether Lens up for a little bit more reach, but when you get that blink up on Castaway, it becomes even worse. They've got to find a backline here for Aurora. They need to be able to jump these supports. That's where their success is coming in. If they can find Castaway and Bombi, take away the Curse, and take away this annoying Acorn and Bushwhack, then it becomes much simpler to play your own game, but they're just hugging so far back. We've seen this from both of these kinds of supports all throughout the day. Just hugging the back, and with a lack of jump, it becomes rough. I say lack of jump. You have two blink carriers in Aurora. You've got the Centaur, you've got your Pango. It shouldn't be that tough, but again, Neon on point with positioning. They'll find a tier 2.
There's just so much counter initiation. I feel like is the big issue, right? Like, 'cause you jump in, you get cursed. You jump in, you get skewered back into an RP. That's or even just chained by the Ember, right? Or even Bushwhack. Like, there's just too many counter initiation tools that Neon have right now. It feels like it's the problem for Aurora. It seems like they might have to wait for Neon to come to them, and that's exactly what Neon are doing right now. 5-man smoked up. The thing is, though, Aurora, they're hanging by that mid-tier 2 tower. Maybe trying to use Savage as bait. See if they do go for the bait, though. Savage has his own BKB now available, so he's not the easiest target to try and take down. Neon gonna have the high ground advantage. Are gonna find Ollie on that Phoenix. What's the chemical rage to be used up? Savage, he's jumped forward. Savage has jumped forward. In comes his team. They have found CDR, though CDR going to pop his BKB and the Eclipse onto the Alchemist, though Savage will just casually walk away. Meanwhile, Armel is holding everybody else back, just ensuring there is no help incoming. Castaway in the meantime, he'll get a curse off. He's found 2, and now the RP. They've got Jabs and Armel both locked down, but do they have the damage output? It seems like eventually they may. Armel, trying for the TP away, is barely going to make it. Oh my goodness. So the fight does continue. On to Ken they go. Ken's going to turn around now. He'll have chains up in a one. Q. Savage does get caught. Meanwhile, Savage has to get his own BKB off, but he has no chemical rage available for another 10 seconds.
Ken.
It's just so much damage. Ken juking out everything, and Savage is gone. Savage is gone again. Neon still fighting. Castaway to go down as Armel does secure. Ken in the meantime trying to get the kill onto Q. Can't get quite close enough. Now Ken in trouble.
Ken?
Needs to remnant back towards JG. And does TP away. He will be alright. I suppose you do kill CDR twice in all of this, so not the worst team fight in the world for Aurora, but it's still not looking that smooth either.
It's certainly not that smooth. Neon, maybe just a little bit too trigger happy for Chidori to just walk in, instantly popping the BKB, instead of waiting for the Aegis use first. It definitely cost him in that time, and they did manage to isolate him off the back of that. But the cleanup from the side of Neon is smooth going as well. The damage output right now on JG is immense. And I love this stacking of Lincolns that they've done. They're just stacking up the Lincolns all in on Ken. So pinning down this Ember is no small feat right now. It takes a lot to stop Ken from just playing his game here.
Yeah, Ken's just having the freest fights of his life. And I amp everything up as well with that Shivers to come. It's like Ollie may get noticed here in the moment. Ken. Just going to take the Watcher instead. Neon, they're still playing quite assertively when it comes to their position, but still respecting the side of Aurora, not going too far forward. So that last team fight wasn't exactly how they wanted it to play out. So, Ken continuing to move up through that mid lane, not able to find himself any kind of target that he can secure. Now trying to maybe catch Ollie with the chains out, but Ollie's going to be fine to retreat. Savage is alone on the southern side of the map. If they can find him, In fact, lines have been drawn exactly where Savage is right now. Ken's going to have a bit of a look around. Savage is still farming that area by the outpost, but a nice TP away. He's going to retreat.
Up.
Q. JG forced the BKB up, trying to avoid any kind of damage coming in from Q. Jabs might be left behind. Go for a blink TP up. He is going to make it indeed. So, nice BKB wastage here onto JG. At least you know that the mag will not have that available for quite a while.
That's a pretty big deal for Aurora to find for basically for free. No real commitments to force out that BKB on JG. However, Neon, they still have all their spells available. RP, Winter's Curse are still set to go. Aurora will try to smoke around here. See if they find a good angle. They've got all their tools available as well. They've got their own Linken's up on Armel. So pinning him down with a curse is going to be a little bit tougher. Going to be a big one.
It certainly could be a very big team fight to come. Bombi in position to break the smoke. Neon there casually waiting for Aurora to move up. Armel's going to break his smoke. They'll see the Pangolier. No Rolling Thunder quite yet, as Savage is going to jump in preemptively with his BKB out, but he's not getting any damage off onto CDR. Meanwhile, Jabs trying to go right in onto Castaway. The Wyvern does at least go down, so they won't have the curse to worry about. So Armel still trying after Bombi. Bombi is going to be able to retreat. Savage still trying to find himself a target. They'll turn back in onto Armel as now a skewer. They've got Savage! And they've taken down Savage. JG with the perfect skewer out. We'll find the Alchemist as Ken will look for more targets. He's found himself an Armel Pangolier. Armel going to swash away his... Oh, CDR! CDR going down now. Jabs setting up. In fact, Q's even found Bombi. Bombi to drop. Jabs will go down in the middle of all this as JG. He's going to find Ollie to boot. Armel's still trying to fight this one out, but he's gone.
What is happening?
It's just a complete massacre between these two teams. Q's the only survivor from Aurora. Neon, they'll have both their mag and Ken on the Ember. So it's still a much better fight for Neon as the fight actually continues. Q trying to man up against Ken. Ken happy to oblige. Will chase down the Batrider. And it seems as though Q should be okay.
Good God. They are just throwing everything at the wall and seeing what sticks on both ends.
Yeah.
Lots of back and forths, really good isolations from both sides. Chidori going too far forward, but then Savage being skewered back as well. This game is all about positioning. You can see Aurora do get very excited when they manage to find Castaway. And Castaway has to be so careful with where he stands in these fights because the backline jump is there for Aurora. They are taking out this big tool in the Winter's Curse. We haven't seen that in 2 fights in a row now, just because Castaway dies too quickly. Does need his blink to be online. They are surrounding Ken here.
Yeah, I'm going to try. Ken will just remnant away. Very, very hard to catch him with that Linken's Spear available. Q was ready with the lasso, but just couldn't quite get there in time.
So slippery. The lack of instant lockdown on Aurora is going to be holding them back a little bit and catching Ken. That's been pretty much the story of the past 3 fights here for Neon. Ken just weaving his way in and out, while kind of sacrificing Chidori in the process. This Luna still having good farm, especially relative to the other course of Aurora, but definitely doesn't quite measure up to what Savage has now. Not that it's even really relevant, considering what Savage has to deal with up front. All the focus is on that Alk, and Neon will smoke up. Again, they've got everything ready to go again. RP's set to go. They've got more tools to play with. I believe Bombi, he does have the full Gleipnir up, so even more hold the setup here. Smoke on smoke again.
They come. Aurora. Prepped for another big team fight, so are Neon. 5-on-5 smoke engagement ready to go. The prize is Roshan. 30 seconds away now on the respawn. Neon, they'll hang around the Roshan pit, get onto that high ground of the Twin Gate. Aurora, jump is there, JG! He's gonna find Savage again! Savage, he got the BKB off, but can he survive through it? I don't think he can, Savage is gone! JG, the perfect target, and now the curse coming out! Castaway catching 2 of them! It's 2 cores to boot!
Oh my God!
Oh boy, what a massacre! Neon Esports with the perfect setup! I'm telling you, John, JG on this Magnus, he has been making magic happen this game one.
That he has. JG and I really want to say Castaway. Like finding these follow-ups for the Winter's Curse, breaking up these fights. They couldn't even find Bombi in that chase because they didn't focus on Castaway this time. Mind you, Castaway, okay, it's just thanking Roshan for the team. Big win for Neon. The isolation gaming from JG, blinking forward with a harpoon, the kidnapping strat coming in full gear for Neon. And there's just no durability here for Savage, unfortunately.
No, absolutely not. Savage is getting skewered back into an absolute meat grinder. That is Neon Esports here at Neon. Not only finding Roshan, but finding the final outer towers here, both in the top and the mid lane. It's Ken and JG both set up for those. It's onto the high ground already. Neon Esports, 32.5 minutes in. Onto the T3 towers. JG's got another one. This guy's just fishing now, John. He's found himself a bird. Ollie gonna try and get his way out of there, but the chase is on from Ken, although maybe he's gone too far, but
oh
no.
my god, Ken!
Ken is just juggling remnants left, right, and center. They've taken down Ollie.
Oh, Ken. He's just styling. Just preemptively setting. Almost reminds me of like PPO Podge back in there. Funny enough, on Neon as well.
Let's not say peak Gopage, Jonathan. You know, maybe he hasn't hit his peak yet. So then again,
True.
you know, he might get locked down in prison for a while, but it doesn't matter. You know?
The destiny of every Filipino kid.
Every Filipino with talent just ends up in the same place.
As Neon, they're ending up on the road to the high ground as, oh, another kidnap.
Yeah, beautiful. They've got the Bat Rider again, JG. The fisherman himself finding a bat this time around as Q is gone. Armel desperately trying to defend, but an RP coming up from JG. No messing around. Locks down the Pango, though Armel still able to drive away. Ken thinking about jumping in the chase, but will not. In fact, never mind, he does. Look for the fountain, but he gets locked down now. Ken's gone too far. Ken needs to remove himself from this situation. Or does he? The lasso is
Savage?
Who's going to try and drag him? Meanwhile, Savage. Where is Savage? He's gone down again. Oh, Savage has gone another time. His Jabs is now dead to boot. Savage is brought back into all this. Where the hell's Savage gone? He's TP'd down to the bottom lane now. Savage trying to fight and kill Castaway. They'll move on a camp, but just look at the damage.
Oh my god!
It's a dieback. Savage is
What
gone.
is happening?
CDR's dead now. Well, it's a good old-fashioned Fiesta, Jonathan. The Fiesta's upon us. JG's able to TP out. JG's gone.
God.
So after all of that, after a dieback on Savage, we only get one lane of barracks.
I mean, they go a little bit ham, diving close to the fountain there on Neon. You know what this takes me back to? You know that era of, what was that? TNT Tigers? Do you remember that time? With In Your Dream? And, you know, Dream was sell on Boom, diving tier 2s and stuff when they're winning? That's what this takes me back to. We haven't seen C Dota like this in a few good years, Mike. It's good to be back to the dives.
It certainly is.
Not quite good for Neon, but, you know, they get the dive back. They're still in the game.
They are. It's a wild game.
It's maybe they shouldn't have, you know, lost as much as they did, but yeah, they have a 20k lead up against an Alchemist. This Alchemist was isolated again by JG with kidnaps, just pulling back. This Harpoon Magnus just too much to deal with. No saves on the side of Aurora. None of the supports can do anything to stop that. Like, you just have nothing. Like, you don't have something like a Shadow Demon with Disrupt. You don't have swaps. You don't have an Oracle. You don't nothing to really stop JG from just doing what he wants. And the only way Ken dies is if he dives past tier 4s, apparently. So there is that. Let's see. Aurora, the name of the game now is just stabilize lanes, shove out every lane they can, try to stall out for Roshan in around 4 to 7 minutes. So let's see if they can try to find that opening. Neon, though, won't relent. Immediate smoke up, refresh up on JG. Double RP, double BKB ready to go. This man, with this tool, gonna go insane. For sure.
JG, just an absolute monster this game already. Oh, Savage. Do they know? No, they're going to go after Armel instead. RP was committed immediately. Armel just getting destroyed as Savage is going to jump in anyway. He's going to try one last time, but the curse is out. The curse is out immediately onto Savage. Jabs jumps in to try and help out. They might find Castaway, or maybe they won't. JG will RP up the arc again. Savage is down. It's time to call it, boys. And there you go. GG is called. Aurora.
Oh my God.
They will drop game number 1 to Neon Esports. And Neon, I tell you, John, you know, you and I, we kept saying they're the underdogs in the draft. We kept saying that Aurora should be the huge favorites. Guess who?